thank you for joining us today. So marketing therapy, again, used to inspire real and effective communication. So with that being said, there's so many ways to communicate, but one of the ways that most people don't particularly think about are the inner communications that begin the outer communications, essentially. And this is something with what's been going on in the world, in terms of terrorism or the elections. There's so much that is being said. And a lot of the times, like on social media, you say, did you even think before you posted that? Or, you know what I mean? Do these people just blurt these things out at the rallies or just really anywhere? People they're excited and that's good. However, we've talked about this thing between our ears as a weapon and a tool, and it really can cause some destruction, but it all starts from within. It starts with this inner communication that affects your business as well as your personal life. So this is one of my favorite topics. This is something that I preach about just personally all the time. I have done the work to become self-aware. Well, what does that mean? According to the dictionary, self-awareness is conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. So I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what makes me angry and what makes me happy. I know what sets me off, and I know what will, right on the border, set me off or not set me off. And the thing is that if we were to engage in conversation or engage in marketing or engage in business, partnerships based on knowing how we are and based on being self-aware, I really think that, problems wouldn't occur. Miscommunication, most importantly. And there won't be this, I can't pay my bill, or I can't carry through our agreement, because there's an understanding. With that being said, how many of you who have joined us think that you are self-aware? If you could put one in the chat, or 2 in the chat if you are not sure, or 3 if you're like, no, I'm just not. You're not sure, Terry?
I'm just not sure. I guess I don't know what the true definition of self-awareness is. I mean, if it's about being filtered, I try to filter my stuff, especially if it's going out on the web. I want to think before I post. Is that what you're referring to? Wait a minute. Sometimes my emotions get the best of me, and I end up being fried in fries. Okay.
You're so funny.
I was about to say, yeah, I'm filtered.
So the filter is an extension of the self-awareness, but the fact that you know that whatever you just said about triggering you or doing something, that's the self-awareness. The definition is conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. So, but
I don't know if it's of my own stuff, but I am cognizant.
Well, it's hard. Self-awareness is difficult because I think there are different levels, like the onion. Right? You can know that I like blue versus purple. I like broccoli over cauliflower, and okay, I'm now self-aware. Now you can dig deep a little bit more and say, it upsets me when people cut me off in traffic, and like that's the only thing that really gets me into a road rage. So I think part of a real self-awareness, deep down self-awareness, is this accountability for the things that aren't so pleasant. Like you will own these things that aren't your flaws, or these things that you need to work on. So it's almost like you have this accountability. When I started becoming self-aware, I was like, wow, look at this laundry list of things I need to work on. Well, I've I've flown through a lot of it. I thought it was going to be hard and it really wasn't. What that has done for me is brought my confidence level up a ton. At the same time, I get a lot of people that say, Q, you're intimidating. A lot. Or you're narcissistic, or you're arrogant, or you're, like they use all the words in the book when it's really the confidence of me and the lack of confidence in them, this projection that I don't know if you guys have heard that term. Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's just work. I was ignoring him. Well, look, I mean, it's a serious thing. I mean, it carries over to your clients and your potential clients. Being that I'm self-aware and I have a lot to offer to these clients, they may be insecure, but if they are like so far down the insecurity line, they won't be able to allow me to help them. So I have to be aware enough of my superpowers and to know how to scale that back. Right? I mean, it's yes, of course. So it's the same thing in conversations, personally or business wise. You have to be able to gauge where you're at and where they're at. And there's this responsibility that I always talk about, that two people are talking. If one person is able to understand both sides, they have a responsibility to make sure that the other person gets it if they're not getting it. What was that, Fran?
No, there's people watching on Periscope, just to let you know.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
I'm still listening. What was that last thing you just said? I didn't want to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was just saying that we have to scale back, or I'm sorry, the responsibility that if we're talking to someone, like say Fran and I are talking, and I understand both sides. I see where she's coming from, but she's really not understanding me. But I'm understanding me. It's my responsibility to adjust the conversation to make sure that she can understand me. Now, if two people are in their own little world and they don't understand each other, well, that's a bigger problem. But there is typically one person who gets where the whole conversation is at. And I truly believe you have a responsibility to make sure that you're communicating or changing your communication so the other person gets it. Theo, on the other hand, asks, why scale back when you could just work with those that are ready and match the intensity?
Guys, I'm gonna jump off.
Okay. While I understand that, Theo, part of what I'm saying is like, these are life lessons. These aren't just business. That this is, most of the time people don't associate the way they communicate in business with the way they communicate personally. And so they think that it's more casual personally, but then you tend to lose skills. I truly believe communication is like a muscle. And that's what we're working out every single Monday, this communication muscle. And you really have to practice. When you get in contact with people, like practice makes perfect. And if you're not taking the opportunity to understand the other person, Theo, do you have some communication issues you want to talk about?
We are having therapy, Theo. This is a good time to get it all out.
No, really and truly. I mean, it should not be separated. I get that there's a boundary, but especially those of us that are self-employed, do we ever really stop working? Do we ever really stop selling? Or do we look for opportunity pretty much everywhere that we go? I know that I do. I mean, I know my ABCs always be closing, right? But okay, you're providing a counter argument. That's fine. Thank you so very much for that.
You need to be understood. And what I learned in communication is that you got to ask the question from 3 or 4 different facets just to make sure somebody understands you. Okay, let me go around on this side. If you don't think that they're getting it, let me phrase it this way. Let me phrase it that way, just to try and help people understand what you're saying. And you're right. It is our responsibility for them to get the understanding, not the other way around.
Exactly. And Coach Karen, I do believe it's I never talk about perfection. I talk about making ourselves better and more efficient, more productive, and more successful. I mean, but perfection to me is like the end. There's nothing to do when things are perfect. There's nothing, to grow with when things are perfect. So I really don't use that word in situations like these. But Fran, based on what you said, I can't tell you how many people I have encountered that get frustrated because they feel like they can't control the words that are coming out of their mouth. They can't control the message. They get frustrated because I'm not understanding what they're saying, but neither do they. Right? You also have to understand how to rephrase what you're saying. And I've seen a lot of people give up. I used to get frustrated when people would say, never mind. No, never mind. Use your words. Figure it out. We'll figure it out together. We could do Pictionary if that makes you feel better. Just let's figure it out.
I think that is a good, because people don't want to take the time. They think that they have to hurry through it, when some conversations are going to require that you sit still and sit down and talk it out.
Hi, Theo. I wasn't completely done, but what can we do for you?
I didn't know I had to get down for me to pop in. Continue.
That's kind of how we've done it, but why don't you just tell me what you have to say since you're here?
Sure. I was just going to say that a lot of people, they don't know what to say just because they haven't said it enough. Like the more you go about doing these different things, the more like for example, if I went and I talked to you, right, and explained to you and you understood, but I went to a friend and she didn't understand, or I went to Terry and she understood, then there's something that I need to work on when I talk to people like Fran, right? So the more you practice and the more you actually participate.
Yep. Participate just like that by phrasing.
Okay, I thought it was okay.
Okay, bye, Theo.
Theo, come back.
Oh, just kicked them. If he can hear me, Theo, you just contradicted your counter argument. Just saying. So, I wanted to mention what it looks like on the outside. What it looks like when you have these inner communications with yourself. Some people actually say it out loud. I literally had a boss. She was so antisocial, complete introvert. I'd walk by her office and she would be talking to herself, and I don't talk to myself, so I always thought it was strange. But then she would be arguing with herself sometimes. And one day I was like looking, there's no one there. But she was just full on arguing. And that woman, I don't know that's maybe it makes her feel better, but I don't even know if she's even listening to herself. So Theo says we all talk to ourselves. It's the person we talk to the most. Exactly, Theo. But are we talking to ourselves out loud or no?
Yeah.
I do not do the out loud, which is one of the reasons why I had trouble with Periscope, because I like this human interaction. I like to be able to see faces. I like to be able to see the reactions to what I'm saying. But so you can speak out loud, but you know that whole listening thing? If you're talking, you may not be listening.
No.
There's always that, right? So if you're talking, are you really listening to yourself? I mean, just likewise, just like when you're listening to other people. If you're in the middle of talking or thinking about what you're going to say next, chances are you're not listening to what they're saying. You're not taking it in. Never, Carlos, never what? So it looks like confidence, of course. It looks like trust, like you're trustworthy, right? This exudes trustworthiness, confidence in what you know and what you have to offer. I mean, this whole thing of know, like, and trust in business, I think it really does come from within. And that's what you market, or that's what you communicate. And Eileen says there's an echo on Fire Talk, which I've been hearing. Does anyone have any questions so far? Welcome to those that just recently joined us. Any questions about self-awareness, inner communication? So the other thing is that we're just like, it doesn't end when we're kids or teenagers, but we do get influenced by our environment or by people that we interact with a lot. And so if you have strong self-awareness and strong inner communication and you trust yourself, it's kind of like trusting your gut. The moment I trusted my gut was the time that my business just took off. When I stopped doing business the way that everybody told me I should, no, there's no echo. When I stopped doing business the way that everybody told me I should and did it by the way my gut told me to do it, it took off. Now there's an echo. Okay. No echo. You're good. So how do we avoid distractions from the outside? I mean, case in point, the elections right now. We're not even in we're just getting the candidates nominated. And we're already getting into this heated battle, trying to influence others to change their ways or change who they're voting for. I was watching Trump's speech for 27 pages and over an hour of talking, and I was on Snapchat and I said, how funny would it be if I just put a Snapchat filter on Trump's face? So I put the dog filter and I recorded the video. So it was perfect timing. He licked his face and then everybody started cheering. And that's how the video went. And I put it on Facebook and Twitter. I put it everywhere. And the title was Because I Can. And I was trying to be funny. And when I put it on Facebook, this disgruntled woman said, "You really right now?" I said, "Yeah, really. What's the problem?" And she said, "You must be a Hillary Clinton supporter through and through." I said, "I was just trying to use a funny filter on Snapchat. If your face was on TV, I would have done the same thing to you. If it was Hillary Clinton's face, if I just felt like it, I would have done it." So then my internet went down. And so I said, what am I going to do with myself? I went on a rant on Facebook Live titled Because America, right? And because America, we can have our own thoughts. But the problem is we're infiltrated with everyone else's. So how do we build a barrier, and how do we stay strong to really stick to what we want or stick to what we believe in? And the only way that we're going to do that is by practicing and strengthening that muscle. It's really, if you have this feeling about something, this way you want to communicate, and you practice it and it works for you, chances are no one's going to change that aspect, right? If you do your research, if you want to vote for for Trump, and you do your research and you find that despite what the media says, he's matching up to what you think he is, well, then stay there, hold your ground, stand your ground, and say, okay, I will vote for Trump. No matter if he has a bad day and starts throwing a hissy fit, I will just vote for him because that's who I am and that's what I want to be. I will not be, my mind will not change based on what everybody else is saying, because this is going to be such a trying time for all of us. There's going to be so much back and forth. It's going to be such a dirty election, but this is not the only time that we are challenged in our thinking. This happens in religion. This happens in, money wise. This happens when we watch TV commercials, listen to radio ads. We're trying to be convinced to do other things all the time. So how impressionable are you? Or are you strong in your beliefs and in your stance? And I know that it sounds like I'm going off topic, but I'm really not. Because this has everything to do with how you communicate as well. Because you'll be inconsistent, right? Part of the way it looks like from the outside, this whole inner communication self-awareness thing, is you look like you're confident and you are consistent. Trust me, if I'm communicating with someone and I start noticing inconsistencies, and I don't even have to actively do it, I just got this recorder in my head that picks this up, this radar. And if you're inconsistent, I promise you, I will change the way I communicate with you, because I don't trust you until you show me that you're willing to be consistent. I can't hear you, Terry.
Only because I muted myself.
Got it.
What I was going to ask you is, okay, if we're inconsistent, are you talking about, okay, one day we're having a conversation and I'm pleasant, the next day we're having the same conversation and I'm just off the chart, in a whole different pattern of response? Is that what you mean by inconsistent?
Well, and I hate to keep making this about politics, but it's the most relevant and recent example. Trump had mentioned that he wanted to put Hillary Clinton in prison, right? Put her in prison. She's done this, and that. Well, at the RNC, when people said, put her in prison, and all he did was wave his hands and peacefully said, let's just beat her in November. Well, I heard him over the weekend saying she should be put in prison again. So what is it? Because you're exactly, like, we're having problems, trusting you. And it doesn't matter what you say. It could be as little as, I love this coffee shop. No, I love this coffee shop. No, I love this coffee shop. And it's like, you're so impressionable. Like, are they paying you? Are they giving you rewards? Like, why are you changing your mind? Would you change your mind, doing business with me, working with my competitor? Would you, be friends with my friends, steal my friends? Like, it's just this inconsistency, a lifestyle. And like I said before, to think that your personal life and your professional life do not intertwine, you're blind or deaf.
I don't know how you could possibly do that.
What?
Have a separate personality. Separate personality. Your personal life.
But it happens, Terry. Literally, here's what it looks like. It looks like personal life, I'm super casual. And I don't think that, and here we go, Fran, I don't think etiquette applies. I don't think I should have politeness, manners, etiquette. Morals sometimes go out the window. Yes, TJ, they don't have a plan. That's why they have all these inconsistencies. But how do you have a plan? You can't always have a plan. And this is coming from the gal that loves planning. You can't always have a plan, which is why I always preach, foundational stuff. Like, how do we have these this lifestyle or this way of communicating that set us up for success. We can have different strategies in business and in personal. And so that's where the difference occurs. But I'm talking about, I don't know, maybe everything I say is just etiquette related. I mean, I get mad because people don't say please and thank you anymore. It just drives me nuts. Right. So
I get angry because now that I've moved to California, people don't speak to each other on the street. It's like, you used to acknowledge people. So I come from Pennsylvania, and people say hi, or at least let you know that you're somewhere in the universe, But in California, it's like people are like little zombies. They just pass each other, and nothing happens. I'm like, ooh, that was a real paradigm change for me. It's a cultural.
Yeah. But again, if you stay true to yourself, you could potentially influence the community around you. You will basically force the people around you to eventually say hello because you're so chipper. And you're like, hi.
That worked in the workplace because I saw those people in public places. I'm just talking about people walking down the street.
Yes.
People that you meet walking down the street.
And this is exactly what I'm saying. So when it comes to personal and business, and you're saying, I'm just being friendly and I'm just trying to be welcoming, why should that change in a business setting? It shouldn't. You really should just be able to, carry that forward. Because if I see like Terry is super smiley in business, but like in her real life, she is negative Nancy.
Okay, I see.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it's really hard.
Optimistic in both realms, unless I'm just really wore out.
Right. But and to say that your hard days or your tough times doesn't create the inconsistency. You just have to be able to talk about it. The more it's like lying. The more you hide things, the more you keep layering stuff on top, like things aren't happening. If that blows up in your face, like that could hurt you as well. Being able to say, and this is what I was saying in the very beginning, when you decide to have inner communication, personal or business, just about yourself, and you decide to do the work and good or bad, you note what you have to do, deal with, do all of that. When you hold yourself accountable for the things you need to work on, I can tell you life is a little bit more forgiving than pretending that they're not there. Now, TJ says lying is hard because you have to remember something that is not true. That too is a skill or a muscle. People can do that very well.
Really? That's a lot of energy.
That's called compulsive lying.
And how do you remember the lie that you told and cover the lie to cover the lie? You know what I mean? That's a lot of work.
It is a choice, and they do it for status, or they do it, for their reputation. And I'll give you an example. Psychopaths, sociopaths, yes, they do it too. My ex was that sociopath, and I'll give you an example. He had told everybody that we owned the house that we were living in. So we moved to another house, and the house we were renting was actually for sale. And people kept questioning, why are you living in this house and your house isn't even selling? And he kept this lie going because for like 8 years, he kept saying that he owned that house even before I was around. And I just said, we're renting. Like I told everybody we were renting. There's nothing, no problem against renting. Like I plan on moving. So why would I'm not in the market to buy. Right? I plan on relocating. So I'm trying to get the heck out. So for me, there's no shame in renting, but he just had to tell everybody that he owned it. But he had to carry that lie through when people are like, wait a minute, What are you doing with your house? And then they saw, sorry about that. They saw this house get knocked down and rebuilt and sold. And it was even worse because they were like, why are you living in this small townhouse when you just created a mansion over there and you're going to sell it? This makes no sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know how I got out of that one. I was like, peace out. I can't take this. Right. But he also gave this impression that he owned his business when really he was a manager. But he felt that in business, he would have more of an angle to push if he was the owner. So why do we do these things if, we're sociopaths, psychopaths? I mean, there's really no other reason. Like, there's no logical reason to lie. And there's no logical reason to not be self-aware and not communicate what you know about yourself. Because now you're setting expectations. But in order to communicate what you know about yourself, you have to know about yourself. So do the work. And what does the work look like? It just means, through experiences, learn about where you stand on things. For example, during the Orlando shootings, we know that it affected the LGBT community. We know it affected the Latino community. We know it affected Orlando. In the beginning, a lot of people were just saying, pray for Orlando. And then a lot of the prayers came out with rainbows and rainbow flags and LGBT flags. One of my clients said that he said that he is not a homophobe, but he does not want to promote the LGBT community to his audience. And then so I just said, pray for Orlando, and I had a logo on the side. And he said, even the pray was communicating that he's a religious man.
He's not religious.
No. Well, it doesn't matter what he is. He just wants to be very
Neutral.
nonpartisan, neutral. So I said, well, what did you want me to? I can't just put Orlando on a graphic. What would you like me to do? He says, maybe a black graphic. I'm like, how about I just not put anything? At the same time, in the way that social media works, people will say, okay, well, you're not supporting this, or maybe you're happy that it happened. Like, we have to say something.
It may be misconstrued.
Exactly. You have to. So instead of having things misconstrued, as people can misconstrue things about you, you have to be open. And so he didn't get mad at me for the pray part, but he's like, it's just too much. So what I say to people is, when things happen like this is driving me crazy. Okay. Sorry. I thought I was muting. Sorry. You have to know where you stand on things. And it seems kind of crazy, but when things happen, you have to say, how do I feel about the LGBT? How do I feel about the Latinos? How do I feel about ISIS? And what am I willing to communicate? And then same thing when something good happens. Okay, let's just say you are going for Hillary and Trump wins. What are you going to do? Are you going to lash out on social media? Are you going to talk badly about him every time you hear the word Trump? I mean, these are things that should automatically happen. These thoughts should automatically come up, but they really don't. I mean, how do you guys, do you guys think about this stuff? Or do you just act when it's time to act?
I think some people.
How do you want them to respond?
I'm asking you two, but I'm asking the others in the chat.
So, go ahead, Terry. So you always need to know who you are, and I believe that's what you're talking about, being self-aware, and how you're going to respond in a situation. Are you going to lose your character? Are you going to lose who you really are if something doesn't go your way? Like a little 2-year-old, I'm going to pitch a fit, and like right now, I have this thing that bothers me because there is no respect for the office. Even if whoever's in the office, you still need to respect the office. And that's a bother to me. So if the person got an office that I didn't want in office, I would still have to respect the office,
Yes.
even though I didn't like the person.
Yes, exactly. And what about you, Terry?
Well, my deal is, because I am who I am. I ain't scared to pray for nobody. I'm gonna pray for you. Okay. I'm just gonna tell you straight up. So, just get in line, because I'm praying. Because the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. He turns it whichever way he will. So those kinds of things come out of me. Express me or different things. And they're just going to come up. I don't care who wins because I know who's really in control. But if I am supporting someone who loses, these are things. Those are everything you needed to know. You learn in kindergarten. You have to be a good sport.
Thank you for joining us.
You have to lose properly. Yeah.
Well,
Back to good home training. Oh my God.
that's exactly what we're doing.
Etiquette.
Etiquette. I mean, really, everybody has an opinion, right? And don't you just hate it? Like solicited, unsolicited, the opinion comes. So what happens when you don't respond to the opinion? You're enabling people and you're showing people like, go ahead, I could take it, I'll use it or I won't use it. But to communicate, this is where I stand. That would be an opportunity for you to practice about your inner communication or your self-awareness. Always practice where you stand. And it seems silly, like this doesn't apply to me. What you're talking about, your client, Pray for Orlando, mentioning LGBT or not, that doesn't apply to me, but it really does. If you're a business owner, it does. If you have a personal brand, it does. If you work for an organization, it does. What if you hardcore really care about the LGBT community and you discovered in this time of crisis that your employer does not?
This is blab.
Right. What happens? Like, I mean, those things challenge you.
Really do.
So what happens is what's in you is going to come out. The real you will always come out in some way, shape, or form, whether it's inconsistent or not, it's coming out.
Very true.
And the real you will be there.
So I don't know if you guys watched Tony Robbins' I'm Not Your Guru documentary on Netflix. You have to watch it. It's an amazing documentary. I was bawling my eyes out, but that's because that's how I roll. I cry if I'm happy, sad, angry, frustrated. I don't get violent. I just cry. But a lot of what he said really resonated with me. And, I've every Monday, I swear this happens. Sorry, guys. I come from a very hard childhood and a very hard place, to the point where I cry often when people are nice to me. When they do something nice for me, I cry. I am used to more people being mean to me and rude to me than I am doing kind things. I am always giving back and doing nice things, and what I am used to getting back is crap. So I just know how to respond when things go to crap. But when people are so nice to me, I just cry. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to mention. Most people won't admit that, but I'm being true to myself. This is
Okay. Let's make you cry. If I just show us some
No.
love.
That's not gonna make me cry. You're funny. You're so funny. That's not gonna make me cry. See, now that I've already aware that this is happening, I'm not gonna cry.
Okay, we'll see.
You're gonna still try. Okay. But Tony validated a lot of where I'm at and what I've done and how I am, right? And you know, Gary Vee, as crazy as he is, he validated a lot of things that I've done in my business that everybody said you're crazy. So, you know, those things are awesome. The name of the documentary, Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru. So in the documentary, he says, stay in your head, you're dead.
Mm.
And this happens more with men than women. I'm just going to throw that out there. Men stay in their head a lot more.
Did you hear that, Theo?
Theo, everything in your head needs to not stay in your head. It is a problem. And he actually talks about that in the documentary. Like, we're men. Okay, now the other thing, maybe I just need to have a whole marketing therapy about excuses because I don't like them. Right. But I don't care that you're a man. I think that there are men that have, you know, feelings and express them. But it's hard to beat something out of someone. Not literally beat. I'm not condoning violence. Right. But yes, Mary, for example, your husband telling you to let it go. That comes back tenfold. If you put a Band-Aid on something, the same sociopath ex of mine, instead of dealing with the situation, he would say, I got to go process this. Well, he wasn't really processing it. He was ignoring it. And so to me, processing would be like, I'm going to go deal with it. And I'm going to come back in a very civil way. And we're going to talk about it and deal with it. No, that's what adults do. And he's not an adult. So that never worked. So when it would come back into an argument, he would be shocked. This is not just for me. This happens with everybody. You don't deal with things, they come back. Imagine that. Kind of like a wart. I mean, I'm serious. Like, if you don't deal with it just grows and it gets bigger and it's nasty. So it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're interacting with a person, a client, a friend, a family member, or yourself. If you don't deal with it, it will come back and it will haunt you. It'll hurt you. It'll crush you. It doesn't matter. You have to be able to face yourself. So you have to have this inner communication with yourself and understand where you stand, who you are, and what you stand for.
Yeah.
Oh, I like what Andrea said. That's true, Andrea. We just keep having to take the test over and over again till we pass it.
What did she say? Trying to run away from something, it will follow you or you will attract it until you learn the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Mary says that it needs to get out because it will manifest somewhere. Somehow it never disappears. Yes, yeah. And Karen says, face ourselves daily. It's not embarrassed to release. And so I don't know if it's a social stigma that people feel like, oh, it is embarrassing. You know, I want to be here. But this whole thought process of like The Secret, right? You put it out there, it's going to come to you. But if you're not truly open for this stuff, it will not come. If you don't know how to accept it, if you don't know how to deal with it, it will not come. So you can put incense out there, you know, flowers, unicorns, glitter, incense. I don't care. It's just not going. You're not ready for it.
Okay.
So Evan says, what we are is not what we think we are. If we just take a moment to analyze what we don't know and think what is not within us, to look. What was that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what those words are.
project over time are just passive?
I mean, that just goes along, Evan, what I've been saying. Like through the self-discovery, you will discover that maybe what you are is not who you think you thought you were.
Mm.
So it's just part of the process. So I'm just saying, just do it. Now, if anyone has any questions of how they can do it, I'm very accessible. Cue the brand everywhere. You can have a coaching session, do it on the side, because your personal, yourself can hurt yourself personally and business wise. It could be the reason why you've done everything right in your business and you don't go anywhere. It could be a reason why you don't have your opportunities, because your self-awareness is lacking and your inner confidence is lacking, because your inner communication is like non-existent. I know so many people that are afraid to be alone with themselves. It's so sad to me.
Mm.
And those people, what those people look like is like they sit down and they grab their phone, they have to talk to someone, or they have to go out with someone, like who's available. Right? They can't just sit and read a book or be alone with their thoughts. And those are the people that like go through Mariah Carey meltdowns or just implode. So at some point, like, and those are the people that tend to do drugs and drink and suppress.
Yeah.
So this is part of your overall health, this inner communication. So just do it, guys. For the sake of everyone around you or in contact with you, just do the work. Any questions? Questions, thoughts, concerns?
I was asking, is this like running from yourself at the moment?
What is?
When you don't want to be in touch with yourself or don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy your own company.
No, because there are things that you don't like about yourself that are either too difficult to deal with, too scary to deal with. I mean, the person that I know, like that comes to mind, he had a lot of money issues because he kept having kids with people that he didn't really want to be with. Now he's stuck with them for 18 years plus times 3. And so he's not doing anything to stop this problem of having children with people he doesn't want to be with, which is a bigger health issue. But that it stems into a problem, right? It stems into a money problem, a time problem. You can't, like, he's a chef, so he can't move around like he wants to because his kids are somewhere else.
Wow.
Right? So what does it mean for someone like that to be alone with their thoughts? He would have to do some really deep digging and deep realization that he needs to change his life.
That's probably why some people turn the radio on or turn the TV on when they enter a room, and they're afraid of what the thoughts might bring, just to sit still.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same, people say, I want to put good juju out there. I want to hear the positivity. I don't want to hear the news. I don't want to know what's going on. But man, knowledge is power. Even I understand that right now we're in a very heavy, hard time. But how are you going to protect yourself? Like, don't you feel more confident knowing how you're going to deal with a situation if it comes to your own home? Doesn't it make you feel better to know who you have to support you or to tag along with, to know that you're not alone? I mean, that's why I know the Mormon religion really thrives on having a bucket of food. Like they have a year's worth of food at all times. They have an awareness, emergency preparedness bucket or bag. Like they're ready for everything and anything.
You need a plan.
An exit plan.
Just a plan. You instead of living life random.
And that is something we used to do before we had large box stores and things. Canned food and stored it.
Yeah.
In case of bad weather.
Well, but I really didn't want to bring up necessarily like this extreme, because then people really tend to not do it, because this, then we get into, oh, that fire isn't going to come over here, or the California fire is insane, or the terrorism is not going to be in my backyard. Right. I don't want it to always be about the extreme case. This has to happen. This intercommunication, the self-awareness has to happen at a very micro level. It has like a cellular level with yourself, because this is more about who you are and how you interact with people. Because again, bringing this back to business, it can be what's in the way of your success or growth, for that matter. It could be what's tearing your business down. Who you are, this person who grew the business, could be the same person crushing it. And I don't mean being successful. I mean taking it down. Yeah. And you don't even know it. You're like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense, because the real you, what is that show? Will the real so-and-so please stand up? Well, it stands up. That person comes to work with you every day. And if you address those issues from the past or present, you're still going to be reenacting those things, having those same results, and not wondering why. So, Q, we appreciate you stopping in and telling us about this, because there needs to be a jolt.
Yeah.
Here.
But, I understand that this opens up a can of worms for some people. I really do hope that you do consider everything that was said on this blab, rewatch it, re-listen to it if you need to, or I suggest that you do. And if you need help, I can help you, but consider it. And it's not something that you can always do alone, because if you're like knee deep in crap, or neck deep or head deep in crap, like you can't get out of it, and you need someone to like help pick the top part off, so like get you on the right track.
Yeah.
So yeah, any questions before we?
I saw where magazine
Yeah.
that she was talking about the fact that a lot of this comes from something in childhood. It's further up in the chat.
Yeah, like a lack of parenting or poor parenting.
Yeah, something about parenting. And
Yeah.
as a parent, I just want to say, sometimes adult children make their own choices.
Yeah, at some point, adults have to, take responsibility for themselves. And this is another conversation. This is a topic I feel very strongly about, but we really have to, part of that responsibility for ourselves is being responsible and accountable for our actions and our words. Because again, yes, it takes maturity. Exactly. If we may not know that we're tearing something down, or we're in our own way personally or professionally, because we're saying things, it's like we're just vomiting pure crap, and it's hurting us, right? And there are some signs to watch out for that it is actually hurting us. And this happens to everybody. It's not just like one out of every like 35 people. This literally at some point in your life, this will happen. It doesn't have to be a midlife crisis. It could just be situational. And it could also be from you taking in outside energy. Like you could just get down on yourself from purely hearing negative stuff.
Mm.
So if you're not strong enough to hear that stuff, it will impact you.
Yes, you have to be careful who you let speak into your life.
This is why this is called marketing therapy, right? In a way, it is therapy. I am a huge, I approve of everybody going to therapy. If you are a business owner, like your friends don't always get you. And Mike says, hear it from someone close to you. That could also be a problem.
It can.
Yeah, it can absolutely be a problem because they will give you opinions. Like people that are close to me, they say, your business is failing. You need to go get a job. Well, no, this is a time for pivoting. And to give you an example, I started ranting about a gal that I know doing content creation for $99, where I'm selling VP of marketing CMO rates, because it takes more than just content creation and posting to be successful on social media these days. But
Yes.
that doesn't mean that that everybody believes in what I believe, that business owners believe in what I believe. So I had to pivot my business. But my good friends that know me, Mike, said, you need to quit. You need to go get a job. Your business is failing. It's like, okay, well, first off, you don't know anything about my business, right? Second of all, you feel empowered to say stuff like that because you know me. And is that really productive? Hell no, it's not productive. It's not productive. The amount of time it takes for me to go apply for a job, deal with the process, I could have a bunch of clients.
Yeah.
Right? Like, in this day and age, like it's the same. And now I'm in control of, I've been in control for the last 6 years. And do I want to give that up? No, not really. But I know that about myself. Right? So that I get the thing that the people that are close to you, and that's great, but that's why you really need someone from the outside. And there's this know, like, and trust thing. That's why I tell people, like, you can come to me. I'm approachable. I can help you. I'm familiar with this. So trust me enough to help you and know that I'm not going to give you a crap opinion because I actually don't really know you. I will get to know you, but it won't come from a place of, me being uneducated or,
Or just critical.
yeah. Well, I'm kind of critical anyway, but for all the right reasons.
Just for the sake of,
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I think what this news from the magazine is referring to, children who grow up with criticism tend to be criticizers.
Yeah.
Because that's the way they've been taught to communicate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, let's get self-aware. Let's have this communication. What was that?
Well, I was going to piggyback off what Terry just said. Once you understand that and you get information like you got today, now it's up to you to make a different choice. You don't keep going down that same road when somebody keeps telling you the bridge is out down there. You don't keep walking.
Unless you don't trust anybody.
Unless
you have trust issues. But honestly, this conversation needed to be had, because I can teach you all day, every day about marketing, but you could be sabotaging yourself because of who you are. So then you're like, Q, none of your stuff works. So I'm not doing my job if I don't touch on this particular issue, because it's not me, it's you. Right? I'm not controlling your business. Yes, Fraser. Yes. So I'm Q, founder of Q the Brand. I can help you, but I'm here every Monday. For the love of God and for the sake of everybody around us. I'm not saying that I'm better than everybody. I'm just saying, like, I have done the work so hard and I continue to do the work. So I know what it looks like. And I know what it doesn't look like.
She's saying we need to get some help, people. It's okay to talk to people. And that's what we talk about all the time. You need a cheerleader. You need a coach. You need somebody who can see from a different perspective, because you can't see that your clothes are all messed up or you're sitting in a bunch of stuff. You need somebody with a different perspective.
Yes.
to help you out.
Well, and of course, like there are people that, I mean, there are therapists that really can't help you because, you know, you don't know their background or the types of people they've worked with. That's why there are corporate therapists. That's why there are marriage counselors. That's what, you know what I mean? So ask questions and see what people specialize in. For me, it's like personality, like, you know, marketing, communication, business. And so I do a lot of personal work, just like today. I really do believe that it matters who you are personally to where your business is and is going. But
Yeah.
that's where I stand on that. So it just really depends.
I enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Monday, you get to kind of sit and marinate and fix it.
Yeah. Oh, Fraser.
Is that Ramsey?
Thank you, Mike. I love the caps on that. Hey there. Well, my story is more than an hour, so that would have to be on another show or in a book. Did I lose him?
I think he
Fraser,
must be frozen.
refresh yourself, please. I'm all about just kick him out. Theo, do you have any words? I mean, I know you have
Theo's been
opinions.
quiet.
I know.
And
That's because I said
Theo
it's not
and
your
Carlos
time.
has been quiet.
Let's see.
Yeah, damn.
Hello again. I can't help you with that. Jesus. Okay. Bye. I think I'd have a panic attack if my phone rang like that. I think I cannot deal with that noise. Anyone else? I'd love to hear from you. If you got anything out of it, resonated with you, Q, you're crazy, anything, feel free.
I always ask the question, what is the one thing that you will take away from today and implement? I'm asking everybody. Well, I'm not talking. What is the one thing that you will take away today and implement from what you've heard?
1, 2. Now what happens, Mike? I don't know. It's been like 16 seconds, so I'm just wondering what happens.
So I'm asking what is the takeaway today? What's your one takeaway, people?
Hi, Mike. up? You were meant to be here.
As soon as you say, your family say, hey, well, your group is feeling you should go get a job. I came from a long line back to
Mm-hmm.
you were back to work or you were so I go to college. Somehow I just stumbled into real estate. So I'm a sophomore in college getting something out of me.
I think there's a problem with the seat.
I think so, and don't know what we can do about that.
Nothing. What?
I can see it here.
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen on my side too. Dante said he can hear it. Nope, there it just went.
Okay. Mike, I'm sorry. I kicked you out. Can you refresh, please? Sorry. There's a few of us that are challenged. I guess we could have refreshed, Fran.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I talked to Comcast yesterday. They're sending me the newest modem, so I'll let you know how that goes.
If you need to get me on them, I would happily have a conversation with another company.
I'm going to see if we can find somebody else out
People
there.
bring me to get new cars. I'm like, I'm your worst nightmare. Mike, come back.
Come back in.
No. I'm going to refresh.
No.
Hold on a second. I'm going to refresh.
Okay. I think he's going to refresh and hopefully come back in. I saw the connection error message come up. And Q is back.
Hello. Unless he's mad at me, he won't come back. She kicked me out of the seat.
Okay, so Q is back. So I don't know where Mike went.
Let me message. I was really interested in what he had to say.
Yeah. It's been an interesting conversation today. And we need to have that. And
There
maybe
he
it's
is.
why. Oh, there's Mike. Mike's back.
Sorry, Mike. I got him. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. We have earphones. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All the time. Not sometimes. All the time. Yeah.
I'm going to refresh.
Oh, God. I have to refresh, Fran. This is killing me. Fran, can you hear me? You were talking about the guy you see in the mirror everywhere and doing this every day and doing the same thing.
Oh, so you got to so got to sit and start. I take an hour. Get out of bed. So I move, read. I have to say, I don't know who you are. Your opinion of me.
So
I mean, I love her more than anything, but I can't necessarily let everything you say resonate with me.
oh my God.
Like the way I see it.
Hmm.
I'm frozen.
No, you're good for me. I can hear you, Mike. You're fine for me.
Like, okay, cool. I'm not crazy because I'm thinking I was crazy. So you don't get what I say?
No.
Well, okay, hold on, Mike. I have two things. One, you have to communicate it better that you're at least considering it, whether you are or you're not, just because it causes problems when you are like, I'm so confident, none of this can bother me. It's just more like, I'm going to take it, I'm going to consider it, and then I'm going to go drop it over there. But you're not really going to tell them that, right? Or even that you're not even going to consider it. But you have to communicate that in a certain way if you don't want people thinking that you're too much of a hothead, or you're too into yourself, or you're stubborn, because you're not stubborn, you're just confident. But people, the stigma and most people don't feel that confidence is a positive thing all the time. That confidence can be, can hinder success, and it's dumb. But I have to refresh again. But what I want to know is that for someone who's pretty self-aware, LeBlue, you don't like what? I'm going to refresh again, but I have one more question for Mike. Can he hear me?
You're fine. Oh, Q.
I know, but I can't see him or hear him.
Oh.
It's a firewall thing again. Hold on.
Okay, so I'll say this. I think part of the problem that I was having with myself is that I worried about all the time. And I only wanted to see this nice guy that considered everyone's feelings and only did what everyone else wanted to do. And in return, I'm this guy that I have no feelings about that, but I'm only walking around trying to please other people. Right? Until you get into a situation where those people think because you all get into it's like, no, you say
I've done it.
okay.
I do.
I really don't care. And okay, so all those things that I've done, I told you like that's the oh, I knew you was just an asshole of a guy. I never really liked you. It's not like you invest in this. And then you see this on multiple occasions. So you figure
No, I can see you fine. So continue.
like there are situations I've heard my grandmother say, I mean, damn you do, damn you don't.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell? That's what I'm doing. I'm living my life for me. And I don't do it.
And
So
I think
Because
you,
I like myself trying to make sure that I'm like, and I put on this facade
wow.
so everyone likes me.
well,
What the hell with it?
hey, Mike, Andrea, you're talking about empathy, which is like a whole nother show, and it goes in our etiquette book. But Mike, here's what I want to tell you, and tell Dante in the chat, and tell others who are powerful enough to be self-aware and successful in having the inner communication. It's people like us that have the big responsibility or the big power to change perception about confidence and self-awareness. If people like us keep saying like, nope, I'm going to make my own decisions and I'm not going to listen to you, and you have to be, like Dante said, you have to be like qualified or in a particular area in order to give me advice. To be honest, that kind of attitude makes people feel like self-awareness is a bad thing. Well, because they're associating it with like, I want to be self-aware, but I don't want to have an attitude like that. And while I get where you're coming from, people are like 10 steps behind you, if not more. And so they have to have a better understanding of how good it feels to be in a space where you know exactly who you are. They have to see the happier side and the the benefits of being this way.
So,
I agree. My friend is, I'm not, what I would say is, I'm not an asshole like that. I'm not one of those guys that's going to over you can't take it. I mean, I'll sit down and I'll generally have conversations. And while you're thinking that I'm listening to you, I'm literally thinking like, hey, I have to do this, 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 and this tomorrow. Okay, yeah, I'm sure I understand. And I got to do this. But see, why is that? I'm trying to dialogue with them. I'm really not thinking. Like my grandfather, like I love him. I love him. He's the best man I've ever known. For him, a good job and a good man was being able to go to work in one place for 35 years. That doesn't. And so, although we love him, I just want to be able to sit down and go to work for years, right? That was for you. I love him still. Like he showed me so many things. So he stepped in when I needed him the most. And again, I keep thinking, put me through two different places. He wants me to be like him, but I'm trying to get him to see that you have to follow someone else's schedule. I make my own. Yeah. I can get up and work from 4:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. I can work from 4:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m.
But Mike, you're dealing with stuff that a lot of people in this generation are dealing with, right? But we're talking more about like, well, how do you have the strength, and how did you get to a place where you knew exactly who you were, or you knew what would set you off, or you knew what you wanted to do, and you knew that you had the ability to carry forward, yourself and the things that you wanted for yourself. I mean, this, and I'm not minimizing the importance of what your grandfather is saying and all that, but like, we're talking about the tools, because a lot of people, it's, I hate opening up a can of worms for people and saying, grow your email list and all that, and not talking about, well, how, grow your business, be successful. Well, how? So that's what I want to know is where, or being that you're self-aware, what did you learn from what I said? Did you even learn anything? Or were you like, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about, which is fine. If you just agreed with everything I said, that's fine. But I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's good.
Hi, Dante.
I agree with almost pretty much everything. For me, it was confirmation
Okay.
that I'm not, this anomaly that will make me out. And I'm like, I'm not the only person that is doing this. At some point, I had to stop.
Yeah.
And where I found that self-esteem is when I hit rock bottom. I wanted to be a real estate developer, real estate investing. So I did everything by the rules in 2017. Here it is, I'm a 23-year-old with 5 houses, and I'm about to get foreclosed on all of them, and no one can help me. Well, I'm sorry, I did everything you told me to do. So why isn't it that you come to my or why are you not coming to help? Oh well, this is life, and you have to find out what you have to do. And so here it is, I'm 23. I got 5 bankruptcies going on. I got 5 bankruptcies, 5 foreclosures.
Yeah.
And I built my way back up, and everyone's like, well, how did you do that? I kept working, and once I found out that there was no cavalry coming to save me, I did what I had to do. There was no off day for 3 years after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There was no vacation.
I haven't had a vacation since 2012. So I get you. What's up, Dante?
That was my aha moment.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Dante, what's up with you?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you. You have to have it, especially when you're talking to certain people. But I like to categorize my life, and I won't start from. So when I found myself, there's 2 ways you find yourself first, right? You have to lose yourself to a bigger cause greater than yourself. That's why I believe we're successful. So when I found myself, I was actually home. I didn't really know where to go at that point. So this is me finding myself. I actually lost to listening to what other people thought. The persona that everybody puts around you.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson that I learned from myself is that hard work beats talent. It doesn't work hard, right? And God won't give you a dream, a vision, a desire that you don't have a corresponding ability to achieve. So once I learned that, that knowledge was provided, then I was able to find myself. Now I'm trying to lose to a college. That's what
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I think, Q, I hear you saying quiet confidence. You can have the confidence in knowing that you're not going to let anybody tell you what to do except for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't need to tell them that. You just need to be confident and be courteous and confident.
I also think that people feel your energy, and a lot of people that's not qualified to tell you. That's why I've been in a lot of people not qualified to tell you something. That's not going to be positive about it because they feel that energy already there. Other people that are qualified to tell you, they're going to go ahead and going to have a conversation with you about that. Sure, they're not going to talk about. How to people are, how to play baseball. We're going to talk about drinking, right? And that's the conversation I like to be in, where I'm actually quiet. I like to talk a lot, but when I'm in a conversation or a room that I'm actually quiet in, I'm actually listening.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the rooms that I like to be in. Other rooms where I'm talking a lot, it's usually me. So you just have to know the balance between turning it on.
Well, Dante, what you're talking about in terms of qualified is mostly what I was talking about in the very beginning about being open to it. Like I talked about what it looks like from the outside, this whole self-awareness thing, this inner communication. It looks like confidence, but to other people, it's overwhelming because they're not familiar with it. They've never been exposed to it, or they're intimidated by it. So I've had a lot of people, a lot of men actually tell me that I'm intimidating. More men than women are intimidated by me. And I'm only 5'1". I'm fun size, right? Has nothing to do. Yeah, I'm fun size. Way to judge me, Mike. I feel judged right now. I'm not gonna lie. But that's why I call it fun size and not 5'1". But what I'm saying is that they're intimidated by me because a lot of men have not been exposed. Like they've been, you got to be rock hard. You got to be solid. You got to be the strength and the rock and the wall. And it's like, just because you got to be all those things doesn't mean that you can't be in tune to who you are and exude this energy that, is approachable for people. Right. Because, this mostly it's like, if you're a wall, you're not approachable. You're solid. Right. And so it's changing this social mentality that I'm on this mission to do. That's why I'm saying, like, if you guys are self-aware, I'm self-aware, Grant's self-aware, Terry's self-aware, Mike's self-aware. We have this kind of duty to help change this mentality that this confidence is such a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean by losing myself. You have a bigger goal or a bigger vision. The vision is too big for you to accomplish by yourself, so you need to.
Yeah.
In order to get that vision accomplished, it might not even happen in your lifetime. But as long as you're helping people, so.
But your vision is big. Your vision and what you're losing for yourself is big, and we're kind of taking baby steps because you're ready to do something big. But most people need to go back and figure out who they are. Like we're trying to get people in the very beginning to even consider talking to themselves internally.
Right. So what I'm saying is my vision is so big, right? And I'm helping you find that. Sometimes people don't have a vision to let y'all their business get their own business. I mean, so if I have a bigger vision to help you, an area show you your greatness of able to bring a people that out, that's the job, right? So that's the job you got to do. Because obviously you want to help a lot of people too. So your vision is bigger, right? That's your vision. But the micro steps that you're gonna take, like I said before, you're not gonna complete that in your lifetime. So you need other people to understand what they have inside of them so they can ultimately complete your vision.
Yeah, because I help people all the time with their businesses, but they get so shocked or so offended when I'm like, well, this starts with you. What? No, this starts with you. I'm like, this is my business. Like I know who I am, but this has everything to do with your ability to cope and to deal and to, like this starts with you. This is start with the product that you're creating. Because some people are trying to sell. Like I wish Mike was still in here. A lot of people are trying to sell real estate in Arizona. There's 34,000 real estate agents in Arizona. 34,000. It's like what the cool kids are doing, right? Well, okay, now we got Mike back. So 34,000 realtors in Arizona. It's what people do here, but they don't even know what they're doing here. They don't even know why they're selling real estate. Because it's what the cool kids do. They don't take it seriously, but that also hurts the other, 30,000. Yeah, it hurts everybody else when you got realtors that are like, I don't know. Something about open houses, something, I don't know. And that's just what I'm trying to say is that, like, we have to start with the foundation, the beginning. Fran and I and Terry, we're going to write an etiquette book at this point because it's getting out of control. And we're just going to, every Monday, we just start adding to the book. So, but I appreciate you guys contributing and being here for sure and understanding what the heck I'm talking about. Because I was sure someone was going to come on and be like, I don't know what you're saying. Sorry, I got a call.
We got it.
All right. Thanks, you too. Yeah. Well, we actually have to probably shut this down. This recording
thank you.
will be hefty.
Thank you all for joining us because this has been a great topic.
Yes.
And now you can go on with your week after you take some time
Absolutely.
to sort it out. Your week should be better now.
Thank you, you too.
All right. So
All right, it's
Q,
cool.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and shut it down since Terry's on the sideline over there.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you again for another epic marketing therapy. I am so thrilled that we got to talk about this topic to the extent that I wanted to, and it was approachable for everyone. So I will be here again next Monday, same time, same place, places, right, Fran? We're everywhere
Yes.
as we're streaming this. But yes, I'm Q the Brand everywhere. Feel free to reach out because if there's a topic that you want me to expand more on, you want to know my thoughts, opinions about things, I'd love to be inspired for a show topic. And yes, have a great week, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.